Alright, welcome back to the Lua introduction, and in this lecture we're going to talk about string operations. So what kind of things we can do with strings. And the first thing we're going to do is create a new string variable. This is of course once again going to be a local variable, keep that in mind. And this is going to say hello. This is me saying hello, right, like that. And we can just print this out, we've seen this already, right, just writing print and then in the parentheses using the test variable that we've created. And of course, it's going to print out hello. This is me saying hello. Great. Now, what type of things are there that we can do? Well, the first thing that you might want to know when you have a string is how long is that string? And we can actually ask that. So length of the string is going to be simply hashtag and then the name of the variable. So hashtag test. And then this prints out length of the string is 30. And it's as simple as that. That's the length of the string. So that's that can be very useful to know if you, for example, want to maybe go through each of the members of the string, so each of the single characters of the string as an example. Now, there are also some other things that we can do. And if we type in string, this is actually also something that gets here suggested for us. So if we go string, this then turns blue, and then we can do a dot. And here we find a bunch of, well, suggestions that we can use. Those are functions that we can use to basically change strings and operate on strings. Now, the great thing here is that there's always, for each of those functions, there is a short little, well, summary of what it actually does. Unbelievable great. I really advise you to, for some of the functions that we don't go through in this lecture, actually use this as a great resource. It's a great idea to simply look at the function, what it says, and what it actually does. But the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to use the gsub function. And inside of here, we're going to write test. And what this gsub does is, well, we can actually look what it does, right? So we can just write gsub, and then it says returns a copy of s. So this is the first string that we're going to give him, in which all occurrences of the pattern have been replaced by replacement strings specified by REPL. So this is this one, which can be a string, a table, or a function. What that means, we're just going to ignore that right now, so we can replace something with something else. So let's just do gsub test, and we want to replace, let's say we want to replace hello with howdy. How about that? I like it. Now we're going to Texas, I guess. And well, let's just see, well, print test, right? So what we would expect is howdy. This is me saying howdy, right? And what we have is hello. This is me saying hello. Well, what happened here? Well, what happened here is that this returns a copy. So it doesn't modify this variable here. It actually returns a copy. So what we can do is we can make a new local new test variable, let's say. Let's call it new test. And this equals whatever it returns here. So in this case, if we then say new test, print this out, then it's going to print out howdy. This is me saying howdy. So this is very important. There are some functions that modify the variable you give it. So in this case, test, or there are some functions that don't modify it. This is one of those examples. And I believe that the string operations of the string functions all give a copy, and there are some other methods and other operations and functions that actually do modify this. Yeah. So there are some other functions that I want to show. So for example, maybe we want to search something inside of the string. So let's say we want to find inside of this new test, what we want to find is this. So where does this begin? Inside of the string, and then let's say where is this, and then do finding. So what that is going to return is it's going to return the index at which the word that we give it starts. So this is we can basically just count this as well, right? So this would be 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So this is the 8th letter in the string, and this is basically what this finding, the string.find function returns. And there are also two other things that I find kind of funny to show you. So for example, shouting, you can have a string.upper, which simply then makes everything uppercase. And then you can also have something whispering, which is going to be string lower. And that simply returns a copy of the string in either completely uppercase or completely lowercase. It's always it can actually be useful as well if you have, for example, user input and you want to make sure that it's uniform, because maybe some people are gonna, well, I mean, some people are gonna write maybe something with a first letter uppercase and then the rest lowercase, or they're gonna use, you know, the SpongeBob meme where everything is, something's uppercase, something's lowercase. You're never gonna know. So that's why this might actually be kind of important. And those are the basic string operations we're going to go through. Like I said, you can also go through other ones that there are in the to find when you just type in string, and then you can see here. Some of those are going to make sense. Some of those are not yet going to make sense because maybe some other basics we haven't yet covered, but we're going to cover in future lectures. Now, it's important to say that most of the stuff is also a little trial and error, right? I always encourage you to just try out a few things and see what happens. Always think to yourself, well, I expect that this happens, and then just do it. And if that doesn't happen, then think to yourself, well, that's really weird. Why didn't this work? And then you tinker around a little bit, and then hopefully it does work, and then you're like, now I understand it. Because in the end, by doing, you're going to learn way, way more than simply, well, typing off what I'm writing here. So you actually do have to go out and just try a few things out for yourself. That's always great. But like I've already said, I'm always here to help. So if there are any questions, you always feel free to ask, and I will be sure to respond. And yeah,